Ladies and gentlemen, according to the NBC News article, I will put the article below. Democrats in Texas still face the possibility of arrest. They did not win a permanent ruling or decision by an Austin judge to prevent Abbott and the Texas House from arresting them. What they did was simply get a restraining order or a temporary restraining order for 2 weeks. Quote, the order designed by Travis County Judge, a Democrat, prevents the Texas Democrats from being arrested, detained, or confined in any way for 2 weeks. Not forever, not indefinitely. If they continue to stay, they fled from Texas to Washington, D.C. They left the state because they didn't like what the state legislature was passing. This is not democracy. This is the antithesis of democracy. This has nothing to do with some kind of moral protest or stance. This has absolutely nothing to do with civil disobedience. The 1965 Voting Rights Act was not infringed upon in any way. The Supreme Court already sided with Republicans on this a month and a half ago, or about a month ago. The Supreme Court of the United States of America already ruled and decided that if state legislatures want to enact laws that focus on integrity, they can do so, as long as they don't specifically bar or prevent anyone from voting, which none of these laws do. They don't even have a functioning primary of the Democratic Party. They cheated their own candidate in Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders was completely railroaded, and like 100,000 to 200,000 people were purged from New York voting rolls. So these are the same people who can't even have a functioning contest in any, whether it's for the nominee or mayor, or they're always embroiled. And look at what happened in Iowa last year with an app that simply was coincidentally linked to Madam Secretary, people who worked with Madam Secretary. By the way, there are people I must thank really quickly. If you want to support this channel, subscribe, hit subscribe, but also, so the Texas Democrats still face arrest. Okay, that's according to the NBC News article. We'll get to that in a second, but I want to thank Indy Wood. Thank you so very much. I know that you stated that there was 2 super thanks. I want to first apologize. For some reason, sometimes it's like, I apologize. I didn't see the 2 super thanks for some reason. But Indy Wood, thank you as always for your support during the super chat and also in the super thanks. So the super thanks button is right next to the like and the share button. If you want to buy me a cup of coffee or support the channel in any way, your support is greatly, greatly appreciated. So it's to the right of the like and the share button. Just scroll to the right. You'll see super thanks. It's like super chat for the uploads. Indy Wood, thank you so very much as always for your support. It's always greatly appreciated. Roger Rabbit, thank you as always. And there are a couple of other people. But I just think, Lee Brooks, thank you very much. I appreciate the kind and generous contribution. So if you want to contribute to this channel, the super thanks is below. Ladies, and share this segment. Ladies and gentlemen, and I will give you a shout out next segment, and if for some reason I don't see it, let me know. Hey, you didn't give me a shout out. But it's only for 2 weeks. They still face the possibility of arrest if they don't all return. Now they're returning. They're returning because they don't want to be arrested, because they know they can be. The judge says, well, you're interpreting this you misinterpreted this statute, and you can't go after your political opponents by arresting them. Abbott didn't do that, and neither did the Republicans in the House. They left. Do you understand? Media and Democrats, they fled from their state to Washington, D.C. Could you imagine if Trump Republicans those Trumpers that are always tarnishing democracy, left a Democratic state and fled to D.C. and took refuge with President Trump. We already have a Vox article. Where is it, Vox? I think, what was it, in Oregon? Oregon Republicans walk out and subvert democracy again. They didn't write this article about Democrats subverting democracy. That article will be below. Did Democrats subvert democracy by walking out? When Republicans did it in Oregon, it was subverting democracy. When Democrats did it in Texas, it's, what a noble, moral stance. There's nothing, look, they don't care about wealth inequality. They don't care about systemic issues. They don't care about climate change. They don't care about all the things they claim to, they pontificate and preach and give these sermons about. They care about political power. That's what they're focused on. That's why they don't, for some reason, I don't want to speculate, but they don't want, according to President Trump, not according to H.A. Goodman, according to Trump, not according to H.A. Goodman, according to Trump, not according to me, according to Trump, Democrats want election night to turn into election month or 2 months. Because according to Trump, no matter what happens on that night, look, where did we find wow. And, they're the Roger Staubach of politics. So, we've never had a month. It's usually a night or a day. And so, according to Trump, you're never going to win if you prolong and you have media turning a blind eye to any allegations of misconduct. And working like media now is literally an extension of the Democratic Party narrative. Is anyone talking about the Arizona State Senator Tony Navarrete? I'm the only person, one of the few people in all of YouTube, actually reading from Arizona Republic articles. And they're not like, if you look at the indignation and the condemnation and the judgment, and they're just livid over the recount. Notice that they're not talking about the recount anymore, the Democrats, because they have way bigger problems than that now. A recount in a state opposed by the Democrats of that state have a horrendous, let's just say, possible criminal predator in their midst. A man who was arrested refuses to resign. I mean, as of this segment, I haven't read that he's resigned yet. The man hasn't even resigned yet. He's been arrested. He faces 6 or 7 felony charges for the most despicable acts possible. The Democratic Party is in complete disarray, but it's being propped up. That's like held together by the Scotch tape, or like these strings of media, the media focusing on fomenting the Democratic Party's narrative at all costs. The Democratic Party is being held together by every conceivable advantage that it possesses, from Stephen Colbert to almost every major newspaper in the country, and to morally superior liberals. That means, well, our vantage point is being echoed and regurgitated by everyone. Everyone believes we're right. We must be right. Everyone is saying the same thing. Sorry, if all of media and the entire Democratic Party and all of Hollywood Twitter say that Trump worked with Russia, he didn't. You haven't convicted or arrested him of anything. If you say that Trump compelled people to commit violent acts in January, he didn't. You haven't charged or indicted him with anything because you can't prove it in a court of law. And if you say now that Arizona Democrats, oh my God, they've won, they're not going to get arrested. Well, it's for 2 weeks. It's a temporary restraining order for 2 weeks. And on August 20th, the Republicans can contest it. And they're coming back because they know very well that Abbott and the House, the Speaker of the State House has to. There's some procedures that have to go through the Republicans in the House. They're not, they continue to face the threat of arrest. And they very likely will be arrested if they don't return immediately from D.C. or within the next 2 weeks. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. I'll have a live stream around 10 or so Pacific tonight. To my super thanks, thank you again. Share this segment.